Welcome to my class. I am Indu Sapra. Today I am going to teach you interference of light. We all know that light is form of energy which produces sensation of vision in our eyes. It is in the form of electromagnetic waves which makes the object visible. Earlier studies in the field of optics based on the concept of that light consists of particle or rays, which while at the later stage it was proved that light has the dual nature, particle nature as well as the wave nature. Certain optical phenomena are there such as reflection, refraction, image formation. They can be explained easily by the particle nature of light, but certain phenomena are there like interference, diffraction, that polarization, that are explained only when we assume light behaves like the wave. Light waves, as we know that they are the electromagnetic waves, they are transverse in nature. Their wavelength vary between 4,000 angstrom to 8,000 angstrom. Broadly, we can divide the optics into the two main branches, geometrical optics and the physical optics. Geometrical optics, when we study the facts related to the light without taking into the consideration of nature of light. And in this, size of object is much larger than the wavelength of light used. This branch of optics is mainly deals with the formation of images by the lenses as you have studied in your lower classes. In physical optics, wave nature of light is taken into the consideration. In this, size of the obstacle or the object is almost comparable to the wavelength of light used. Now, we will study the phenomena of interference of light in detail on the basis of wave nature of the light, along with certain basic concepts. Before going to the interference of light, I would like to tell you about the wavefront and Huygens principle. So, what is wavefront? Wavefront is basically the continuous locus of all the particles or the molecules of the medium oscillating in the same phase. That is known as the wavefront. Now, according to Huygens explained this principle, wavefront are of the various types. If we are having the object as means source of light as the point source, we are having the spherical wavefront. If we are having the object as a linear, we are having the cylindrical wavefront as you can see in this diagram. And if we are having the linear source of light at very large distance, we are having the plane wavefront. So, we are having these types of the wavefront. And the Huygens principle is basically, that is the basis of the wave theory of light. It explains that how the light propagates from one place to another place. According to the Huygens principle, actually the Huygens principle is based on the two main assumptions. Each point, first assumption is, each point on the primary wavefront is a source of new disturbance and produces its own waves called the secondary wavelengths. And the secondary wavelengths travels in the same speed as that of the original wavefront. So, the speed of the secondary wavefront is equal to the speed of light. And the secondary wavelengths, as we draw tangent drawn on the secondary wavelength, second assumption is tangent drawn on the secondary wavelength in the forward direction basically gives the shape and the position to the new wavefront. As this is shown in this diagram, how the wave is propagating in the forward direction. So, on the basis of Huygens wave theory, we can easily explain the principle of superposition. Now, the principle of superposition that was given by the Youngs in 1801, according to this principle, when the two or more than the two waves overlap each other, they travel through the same medium, displacement of the resultant wave at any instant is equal to the vector sum of displacement of the individual waves. As shown in this diagram, when the two waves are superimposing each other, these are the two waves, when the two waves are superimposing each other, then there is basically the redistribution of energy. If the amplitude with the resultant wave, crust falls on the crust and the trough falls on the trough, we get higher amplitude in the resultant wave. That is known as constructive interference. And when the amplitude of the resultant wave is smaller than the individual wave, crust falls on the trough and the trough falls on the crust, then we get the amplitude of the resultant wave smaller than that of the individual wave. So this is called as the destructive interference. So we are having the constructive interference and the destructive interference depending on the superposition of the waves. So basically we can say we can define the interference of light. This is the phenomena of, we have observed that some points the energy amplitude is increasing and other points the amplitude is decreasing. So we can define this interference of light as it is the redistribution of energy. Okay, so redistribution of energy, this phenomena of redistribution of energy due to superposition of the two light waves having same wavelength or frequency, moving in the same medium, in the same phase, having or some constant phase difference, such source of light, that is, this phenomena is known as the interference of light, and the such source of light, they are known as the coherent sources. So we are having certain conditions to get the good interference, to get the sustained interference, and these are the certain conditions to get the sustained interference. To get the sustained or the good interference pattern, the sources must be the coherent. They must have the constant phase relationship one with one another. Sources must be monochromatic in the light. Monochromatic, that means they must have the single wavelength. So, to get the good interference pattern, we need to get the coherent sources. So how we can get the coherent sources? We can get the coherent sources by the various methods. So depending the method of obtaining the coherent sources, the interference phenomena is also divided into the two categories. That is interference by the division of wavefront, and second one is interference by the division of amplitude. So in this class, in this syllabus basically, we are going to study the both interference by the division of wavefront as well as interference by the division of amplitude. What is the main difference basically in between these two? In such type of the division, in case of division by the wavefront, the incident wavefront is divided into the two wavefronts either by reflection or refraction, and these two wavefronts are derived from the same parent wavefront, and certain examples are there which we will study later on. Fresnel bioprism, Fresnel double mirror, Lyot's mirror these are the examples where we use the interference by the division of the wavefront. Certain phenomena are there in which we take the division interference by the division of amplitude, In such type of the division, basically the amplitude of incident beam is divided into the two parts by partial deflection or refraction to produce the coherent sources of light. These two parts of the two parts of the incident beam superimpose each other and they give rise to the interference bands. There are certain examples are there. For example, Newton rings, Michelson interferometer, wedge-shaped film. They are used to produce the interference bands, interference fringes on the basis of division of amplitude. So, this is the today's topic. So, these fringes can be obtained when we are having the two coherent sources. In this diagram, I have shown you after getting the two coherent sources from the parent source, means this is basically the Young's double experiment. When the waves coming from the two coherent sources, in this diagram it is coming from the S1 and the S2. When the wavefront are moving forward and they are superimposing each other, we are getting fringes as shown in this diagram. In some points we are having the maximum amplitude and other points we are having the minimum amplitude. As I have told you, maximum amplitude means we are getting the constructive interference here, and minimum amplitude we are getting the destructive interference here. So we are getting these fringes from the two coherent sources which are coming from the two slits S1 and the S2. So S1 and S2 basically serves as the pair of the coherent sources. So after superposition, after the interference, we get the visible pattern of bright and the dark bands. These are known as fringes as shown in this diagram. Bright bands produced by the constructive interference as shown in this diagram, and dark bands, they are produced by the destructive interference. Now in the next diagram I have shown where I am trying to find out the position of the bright band and the dark band. I mean bright fringe and the dark fringe. In first diagram as shown, the light coming from the S1 and the S2 coming from the two coherent sources, that is covering the same path. There is no path difference between the two lights. So we are getting the bright fringe. So if the path difference, I mean that corresponds to the lambda or the phase difference, that is the 2 pi. So when the phase difference between the two particle, phase difference means the difference between the phase angles of the two waves coming from the different two sources. Depending on the path difference or the phase difference, we get bright fringe or the dark fringe as shown in the next diagram. So this is all about basics of the interference of the light waves. After that, after the next lecture, we will study about how we get the two coherent sources by the division of amplitude or by the division of wavefront. So this is in your next lecture, and this is basically the syllabus for this unit, interference of light. 2 days it's over.